Hi everybody, I hope you enjoyed your weekend and the eclipse. I'm going to dedicate the entirety of this week's review to an important announcement we made last Monday regarding the heroin and opioid crisis sweeping our community, state, and country. I joined Monroe County Sheriff Patrick O'Flynn to call on Albany to pass more than a dozen bills to give police the tools they need to take dangerous drugs and dealers off our streets. I'm a member of the New York State Senate Task Force on Heroin and Opioid Addiction, and I've had the opportunity to hear firsthand from families, doctors, police officers, and addiction specialists. Last year, we took the feedback we heard at public forums across the state and passed into law a package of bills that focuses on addiction prevention, access to treatment, and support for New Yorkers in recovery. That legislation, plus $214 million that we secured in state funding to support treatment and prevention this year, is already helping to stem the tide of addiction. But more remains to be done. In order to truly address the heroin and opioid challenge, we need to root out and crack down on the dealers and networks who supply this stuff. Look, nobody believes we can police our way out of this crisis. But in almost all cases of overdose deaths, the addicts had at least one thing in common. A dealer sold them the drugs that killed them. Greater enforcement is essential. It is the next step. Before the close of this legislative session, those of us in the state Senate passed more than a dozen bills specifically designed to expand enforcement, put the law in line with the threat, and ultimately crack down on dealers. Those bills include important measures that would do everything from making it easier to prosecute heroin dealers, to cracking down on black market prescription drugs, to tougher penalties for those who sell controlled substances to minors. It would also establish the crime of homicide by sale of an opiate-controlled substance. All passed the Senate with widespread bipartisan support, but not a single bill made it through the Assembly. With each passing day, heroin takes more lives, shatters more families, and makes our streets less safe. Since the stakes are so high, we must begin pushing Albany to adopt our task force recommendations as soon as possible. The legislature reconvenes in January. We need to start the drumbeat now, so that by the time we return to session, Albany is ready to take the next steps and give our law enforcement partners like Sheriff Patrick O'Flynn the tools they need to take deadly drugs and these despicable dealers off our streets once and for all, before the next addict, before the next overdose, before the next death. You can learn more about these proposals on my website at funky.nysenate.gov. I'd love to have your continued support in this vital fight. Enjoy your week. I'm Senator Rich Funky.